His parents were really worried about him. He was meeting with a therapist twice a week. He had on-campus counseling in high school. It seemed like the parents were doing all of the right things. They were not ignoring his cries for help. They weren't saying, "Oh, he's just a 16-year-old teenager. Maybe he's just emotional." They were taking everything he was saying so very seriously. Their son had always been a bit of a quieter kid, but like a good kid, he listened to his parents. He studied, came home on time, and if he was out having fun, he was always with like the same two friends. They were like the three peas in a pod. They were the three musketeers. And now he just feels so alone. He feels like he's 16, completely isolated from the world. I mean, the parents did everything that they could to help. December 12th of 2022. Just a few weeks before Christmas, the parents get a text message from their son, and he says, "I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. Please don't forget me. Please, you must remember me. I'm going to go meet up with my friends." His friends had died in the Itaewon Halloween crowd search just 43 days ago. The crowd search that killed 159 people and injured nearly 200 others. And now their son would take his life in a motel bathroom because he couldn't bear to carry this incredibly heavy burden of being the only survivor in his friend group. Literally, nobody could have ever imagined what was going to happen that night in Itaewon. I'm sure you guys have heard of what happened their Halloween weekend of 2022. And if there were a few people that knew it was dangerous, it definitely wasn't the parents of the people in attendance. They would never have let their kids go if they knew anything bad was going to happen. By all accounts, all these people in attendance, they were responsible adults. There were some that were in high school, some even as young as middle school, but their parents knew exactly where they were going. They just wanted to celebrate. So, I kind of need to talk to you about how the night starts. So you just see how normal it is. It wasn't like, oh, these people, they went to this dangerous area and risked their lives to celebrate. They went to this area that everyone was like, oh, we're warning you, don't go here. It's so bad. Absolutely not. That's not what happened at all. I did see some online discourse of people being like, well, these people were being young and drunk and reckless, and this is what happens when they all gather in one spot. I completely disagree. For example, Mr. and Mrs. A, that's what we're going to call them. They're sitting in the car, October 29th of 2022, and they're on their way to this super fancy restaurant. They're smiling at each other in the car. I'm sure they felt really excited and kind of giddy, like they had worked so hard in the past, 3 decades to raise their family, and now their kids finally all grown up. So, the parents, they're living the life. Happened. It was also the dad's birthday, and their 25-year-old daughter had just made them reservations at one of the fanciest restaurants in town. She texted her dad, "Go have fun with Mom. Also, thank you for raising me. I'll repay you in the future." Haha. She wouldn't be joining them as she was going to go with some friends to celebrate Halloween in Itaewon. So, the whole car ride, they're just smiling at each other. I mean, they had raised their kids to be such incredible adults. In another part of horror, a dad watched his daughter get ready for Halloween festivities. She was dressed up as Princess Jasmine from Aladdin. And he remembered he actually made fun of her. He was like this full-grown kid. "She was putting on a fashion show for me. And she twirled around and she was like, 'Appa, this is what I'm wearing. Don't I look pretty?'" I'm sure he was a bit worried that his daughter was going out, but that's very normal. I mean, no parent ever really stops worrying. Same as another father, and so his daughter told him that she was going to Itaewon for Halloween. He completely trusted her to be safe. She's just always like all these other kids. I mean, she's just always been this really well-behaved kid. She knew the rules. She followed them. She's the type that would write him these lengthy letters for his birthday. The two had this really intense bond. So 3 years before Itaewon, he was diagnosed with leukemia, and his daughter was a match. So they transplanted bone marrow from her to save his life. And she would write to him while he's recovering in the hospital. And she wrote, "I'm so happy to have been born your daughter. You're the only one that I can rely on. So, please don't get sick again, okay? Take good care of yourself, Dad. I need you to stay with me for another 70 years. You have to cook me seaweed soup even when I'm like 96 years old. You know, I don't like any other people's seaweed soup.
I love you, Dad.
You're the best. By the end of the night, she would be dead. And he would cry out, "You told me you wanted me to stay with you for 70 years. You wanted me to cook you seaweed soup until you were 96. You promised." Before we get there, let me tell you about Halloween in South Korea. If you're going to be anywhere in Korea for Halloween, like the first Halloween after COVID restrictions have been lifted was October of 2022. 3 years it was going to be Itaewon. If you are going to go anywhere to celebrate, it is a city that's located inside of Seoul, and it's above the Han River. It's typically known as just a place with incredibly fun, lively nightlife. Like that's what people go to for. They've got bars, restaurants, nightclubs, shops that open late. It's just like this gathering center. It's also a super popular destination for foreigners. Like the energy just feels really unique there. There's even this famous K-drama called Itaewon Class. And there's actually a famous quote in that series that says, "Most people just come to Itaewon for Halloween." So October 29th of 2022, partygoers are spending hours in front of their bathroom mirrors, like putting on their face makeup, their costume, they're fixing their hair, their wigs, their everything, adjusting their dresses and their pants. And businesses were equally as busy. Like Halloween in Itaewon that weekend, insane. They're making sure they got all the inventory that came in. Like they got to get all the soju glasses. They're turning up the music. I mean, they're doing everything to make sure that everyone's going to have a good time. They're prepping their ingredients for all the food. I mean, there's going to be about 130,000 people coming through Itaewon, which is a pretty small area.
Wow.
So, like, think about it. The city is huge. This is like a part of the major city. Even taxi drivers were on standby near and just waiting to take all the drunk people home. And I think it's important to note for weekends like this, it's a boost in the city's economy. And this is important later. So the whole city of Itaewon, they're prepping for this big Halloween weekend. It's literally been 3 years since Itaewon had a Halloween because of, the pandemic. This is the first time that mask mandates have been lifted for Halloween. So, let's talk transportation. Let's talk about the logistics of this night. Most citizens that were heading into Itaewon, they were not going to drive. They're going to take the Korean subway. First of all, most people take the subway to begin with. It's the easiest way to move around. And parking would have been absolutely horrific in Itaewon that night. Most people were planning on drinking, so they're not driving. And this is so important to note. Its subway station drops you off right smack dab, like in the middle of Itaewon, right next to this little alleyway. I'm going to put up a bunch of maps. Now, this little alleyway is important because it connects the main road that has the subway station and the World Street Food Road, which is like where all the bars and restaurants are. So, a lot of people will travel through this alleyway to get from the train station to the busiest part of it. Some people will leave Itaewon by taking this little alleyway. Now, during the day, this alleyway looks just unassuming. It's just this narrow little space. There's restaurant entrances up and down both sides. There's even a hotel called the Hamilton Hotel located on the alleyway. Okay, so the main entrance for the hotel isn't in the alleyway, but it's like the building is right there. To me, it just looks like your stereotypical alleyway in one of the big cities. Like, space is tight. The places are going to be tight. I'm going to give you a bunch of pictures on just how narrow it is. It's about 10 feet wide and about 130 feet long, and it's on a hill, so it slopes downward. Another thing to note is that the road is not paved over in like a smooth cement. Okay, I wouldn't say it's as intense as cobblestone, but it's like a brick floor where some bricks protrude out more than others. And you can definitely tell that some parts of this hill, this downward slope, they're uneven. So even without a crowd, it's the kind of alleyway where if you were walking down with your friend, you would try to keep an eye out because you could easily trip. It's that kind of rocky. Now take this alleyway and imagine 2 horizontal roads, big roads. One road is the main party street for Itaewon called Itaewon World Food Street, and the other road has the Itaewon subway station on there. And the easiest way to get from these 2 parallel roads is this tiny little alleyway. So throughout the entire Halloween night, people are up and down this alleyway getting to and from the subway station. And as the night is progressing, there were what now seems like the first warning signs. There were a few people that were pushed down or accidentally shoved in this alleyway. Now, I'm sure the party energy, the alcohol, I'm sure it had something to do with it, but most of it was due to the alleyway, like the crowds, the foot traffic, the uneven floorings, the slope. But everyone responded to these mini accidents in a very normal way. Everyone would freeze, make sure the person got back up, was good, and then everyone would keep walking again. That's kind of to be expected. What's not to be expected is nearly 200 people dying in this alleyway. The first 911 call of the night was made at 6:30 p.m. The incident doesn't happen until about 10:00. Wow. So that's 3.5 hours earlier. 3.5 hours earlier, people started realizing something wasn't right. Like things are going to get weird. So, in Korea, it's 112, the emergency line. But someone called to report to the police. Hey, the alleyway near the Hamilton Hotel is getting dangerous. People are going up and down this tiny little alleyway. Some people are struggling to get down the alleyway because people keep pushing them up. Like, I barely made it out of the alleyway. It's getting that crowded. It's getting bad. Please go to part 2 on my channel.